We're ready.
Figure out what we're doing.
Hello, everybody. As you can see, I have some guests with me today. They're really excited about doing this. But I went in the back and I sweet-talked a couple painters about coming up here and just letting them explain what goes into what they do, their talent, why we get so frustrated when insurance companies don't want to pay us for what's rightfully been done and proper. So I decided to grab these guys in back just because they've been doing it for many years and they're talented. And so you understand that we're kind of being bullied into what insurance companies want. The one we're going to talk in particular is this wonderful claim through Geico that we've had. They pretty much have told me to bill the customer the difference, which is really sad because they don't want to do a quality repair. So we're going to show you some pictures, and I just want you to kind of hear the painters inside on why they feel how they deduct for them and everything else is just not right in this industry. They might get a little frustrated because we have to remember they're on the back, and this ultimately affects them and their paychecks and how they make a living. So when they start taking away a 0.4 here, 0.4 here, 0.4 here, it adds up real quick to these guys' paychecks. And that is, again, like I said, how they make a living, and they've chose to take classes and education and training into doing this right so that their work is quality. We don't have flaking and peeling later on down the line. And these insurance companies are trying to come in and dictate and tell them how they want us to do it, but they don't warranty the repairs. So that's where I am. You guys all remember X. He was he had the big race event, so I pulled him back out. But then we also have Travis. He's kind of half in there. They are our painters in our Hudsonville store. Been here for, what are you, Travis?
5 years.
5 years, and X, I think we touched base, you're 7 or 8 now?
9.
9. Look at that. So these guys have definitely been doing it for a while. They've seen things in the industry change. They've taken PPG classes, as well as even when we were, I think, with Finish Master. I mean, you had to learn to spray different stuff. So it's not just one manufacturer stating that these are procedures. It's actually something that is set by our industry. More or less, not by insurance companies, in our industry, by our professionals that do this job. So we're going to talk about, I'm going to kind of get some rough pictures here, but this was the gentleman's Toyota that we did. As I've stated before, we always map them out, go around, we take pictures, and we kind of try to show what we need to do to the insurance companies. And that way, our technicians are also clear on what we told the customer we're going to do. So that's kind of the start process. It's hard to see a little bit, but you can see the mapping in there. And we just go through and we circle all the damage so everybody sees it. Hopefully that eliminates a lot of questions and what the quality and questions should be done. So we started doing this vehicle, and our goal is, again, to get it back to the customer in a timely manner. Geico couldn't come out right away. Again, the customer service isn't there. But we proceeded on with this vehicle. We knew we had to get it back to the customer in a timely manner. So it goes to the body repair. I kind of took you in on the last video and showed you that end of it, how he was arguing in the door jams and different things like that. But this is the paint time, and we really hit a wall with Geico that they are just adamant they're not paying on it. And their explanation is that that's what the market is. There's nothing more frustrating than that sentence, the market. Because what you have is a bunch of big corporate shops that are able to bend over and not care about their quality, and they don't care if their technician loses. So they set the market, which is really, really upsetting for us independent shops that care about our quality, as well, again, as a technician. So this vehicle comes in, they do the door repairs and everything. So we take a picture to prove to Geico how much we have to prime, all the work that went into it. So this is the area. It's on the quarter and the door. Okay? This is just another shot of it. So where this is coming into play, as you can see, the damage went into about half the door. They wanted to give base coat reduction, which means they're taking away from you guys, right? Mm-hmm. But what is, it's really not taking away. I guess I want you guys to kind of explain what would go into a standard prep in this vehicle, and just kind of explain it to people about, you know, how you have to blends and color matches and halos. We were talking a little bit about it. And so I just want you to educate our customers, you know, on why we do what we do so we don't get halos. We were talking about how when we drive down the road and we see a car that doesn't match, we just all cringe. I'm sure they probably do more than I do even, but it's just frustrating. So who would like to start with a little bit about base coat reduction?
Well, I'll show them a picture. With the repair this size, you're obviously like halfway into the door, as you can see here. By the time, this is a picture of it in primer. Well, color like this is gonna take easily 3 coats to cover, in base, and every coat you're stepping it out further and further, which pushes you closer to the front door.
Your next panel.
It takes a lot more skill to be able to transition a high metallic like what's on this vehicle, where you don't see where you stopped. Then again, it's even harder to do it within an area like this big,
Right.
which makes it that much harder. So then on top of it, then they want to take time away from you for doing it, which makes no sense. Not taking into consideration that not only did we have to put color in all this area, a lot of times we even have to go up the sail panel and stuff, because as you can see, this vehicle had a quarter panel glass that is also urethane on, and sometimes they're very hard to cut out, and we end up having a repair around where they cut the glue out, because it's hard to get a knife in there to cut them out good. So sometimes you even have to get color up the sail panel even. So now you're putting even more material on this vehicle, and then stepping out the color even up the sail panel and farther into the door. But yet again, they want to deduct you on time, which also deducts you on materials.
Exactly. So how it works is painter's time actually calculates then materials in it for us. So it's not just the technicians losing, the shops are on cost of materials as well. So that's where that comes in. So it's a double win, they think, to save money.
Yep. And the problem is, now when you're pushing the blend that close to the front, not only can you change the tone, like you start getting metal flake, sitting on end, and you can see definitely where you stopped with the blend, which that's what a halo is. And on certain colors, like lighter color vehicles, say this was a white car, and you're pushing your blend, your color that close to the front, you always risk changing the color from one door to the other with even just clear,
Right.
with even just clear color. You change. So now you're forced, since you're so close with color to the front of this door, you're forced to get 2 coats of clear to the very end of the door, which, even if I didn't get any color per se on the end of the door, the fact that I got 2 coats of clear might change it door to door.
Might jeopardize that color, yeah.
Yes. So actually, with a vehicle like this and the size of the repair, not only should we have gotten full paint time, but my opinion, we probably should have even got time to blend the front door to make the repair quality.
Correct.
So,
Just like all the inner jam work on it also, which is not in the picture, but they didn't want to pay to R&I the rear door when there's mud work and paint work to be done inside the door jamb and the quarter jamb also. A lot of, I just did one the other day, 2 days ago. It was a 2017 Cruise. It only had like 28,000 miles on it, and it had previously been repaired by another facility. I could clearly tell down inside the whole door jamb and around the quarter panel and down the rocker. I could see the sand scratches. I could see mud work still in it yet. And some other shop had just hardlined even all the way down in the door jamb, closed the door, and painted the outside of the vehicle and just let color and clear blow inside the door jamb.
and if you actually remember when I took him back on the vehicle, that's what Geico asked us to do, was a hard line. And there was no way, with how it went into the jam. But that's exactly, what other shops will do to take shortcuts.
Right.
And to bend over for the insurance company, more or less, and not care about. So now we get this vehicle in, and we would love to know where it was fixed. And sometimes the insurance companies do pull up where prior repairs have been done, just so they can see if it's something they paid out for proper repair. But it's a really vicious circle in our market that there are shops that take corners and then later when we get them. So then when you did that vehicle now, you had to knock it down and make it a little prettier, huh?
Correct.
Their shortcut actually caused you more.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Always does.
Yep, and that's just it. So, another prime example, I'm going to kind of take it on a road, but someone asked me the other day, where can I go for cheap body repair? The old saying is, you want cheap, you get cheap. So, don't be so convinced on the dollar amount, and that's what we were all just talking about. First of all, you have full coverage insurance. Use it. You pay them. They sit and bank on your money. Insurance companies do. Don't be afraid to make a claim. And then don't be afraid to stand up where you want to go. You do not have to listen to where they tell you. Just because they've made some corporate deal or have a relationship somewhere down the line that has nothing to do with the consumer, that they're sending you to these shops for them to save money. I don't know why you would, because they don't save you money on your premiums. And I do keep stressing, there are not bad insurance companies. We see good insurance companies through here all the time that take care of their insureds. Right. And it's great. But then when we have somebody like Geico like this, and what's sad is, again, this guy actually wasn't even insured through Geico. He was hit by a Geico insured. And so this wasn't even his insurance company. So this poor guy has somebody else's insurance company dictating the quality of his repair, which is crazy to me, because he never has paid a penny to these people and wasn't owed this out of them. Right. We did do it right, just so you guys all know. I think I stressed that before. We have quality standards here as well as our technicians do. So they know that we sometimes do have to bite the bullet to make sure it's done right. But then that's where the education is going to come in for you guys, and I get to battle, I guess. So, so tell me what for you, though, is just some frustrations in this industry that insurance companies or adjusters or even the consumers just think that painters, it's easy. Sometimes we hear the saying, oh, while you're here, just blow some color over it. It's not that easy, correct? Because you were just explaining blends, and it's not like that anymore, right? I mean, you can't just say, oh, there's a nick up there, blow some color on it and make it's all going to match and look great.
Yeah, then you risk the next adjacent panel not matching, And yes, we would like to take care of everything, but, and for the most part, we always do more than what's on the sheet, because sometimes if you go and you fix exactly what's written on the sheet, your quality would be not so good. So we
Common sense, right?
Yes, it's just doing right. I mean, people deserve it for what they're paying and high premiums and stuff. I mean, I want my car to get fixed right. I'm paying the high premiums on my insurance company, and I'm not getting no break when I get in an accident and then they're trying to find a discount rate through another shop. No, that's not what I expect as the insured. As a consumer, I want my car fixed the right way and no shortcuts.
Right.
That's why I pay the high premiums. So write the check to whichever body shop and make it right.
So it's just frustrating. So you let's go another route here. As a consumer, what is some advice you can give people, if they're shopping body shops, or if they, we had one instant, let's just say you do go someplace else and the estimate's $250 cheaper. Dollars aren't dollars. I mean, I get it still is because you're paying it, but there's usually more to it if a shop has a difference in amount. What's, as a consumer, something that they should look at for a good quality repair? I know we talked blends. Blends are definitely something. If you're going to want a nice color match, blends are something you look at. And don't get me wrong, we do some panel painting. It's possible, it happens, but the more colors are changing every day in cars, it's not just the black anymore, is it?
No, it's not. There's a lot of different shades.
There's metallics and
silvers.
And sometimes, with people that don't really know the repair process, just kind of do your research and try to figure out, okay, why is this shop $400 or $500 cheaper? What are they doing different? Maybe try to get an outsider's input on it, because they might be taking shortcuts. They might not be fully detrimming the car. They might think it's okay to paint this quarter panel and yet leave the tail light on and the bumper on and mask everything around it, risking in the future not being able to scuff really good on that edge and paint flaking off in the future. It's a problem that you won't see today, because when they ship it off, it's not fine and dandy, but you give it some time when down the road, and then now your paint starts flaking away because of process that wasn't done right. Or in this shop, we detrim everything. Tail lights coming off, getting the bumper to R&I, quarter glass taken off. The way it should be from like original OEM to OEM standards.
I'd say they don't
the
tape
way.
around your stuff in the OEs. I mean, you know, when they're building your car, it's a beautiful refinish and it's all quality because your OE is warranting that vehicle, so they want to make sure it's done right. One thing that is helping us in this industry right now are the OEs, and when I say that, it's the manufacturers like your Chevy, your Cadillac. It's all your, you know, Ford, Nissan, Chrysler, I can go on and on, but it's they're actually starting to pair up more with body shops, and they're getting upset that insurance companies and other businesses and other collision shops are taking shortcuts because it later reflects down their line of their product. So we've even had it, a customer bought a car, didn't know it was repaired by someone else, and it started flaking around the taillights. For us, we had to break them the bad news that this vehicle was repaired somewhere else and that it had, you know, not proper procedures done to it. And it stunk. It really stunk. And these people, when they were buying this car, had no clue what to even look for to tell if it was in an accident. And sometimes you can tell, sometimes you can't.
Right.
But they had no clue, so now they get this vehicle that's all flaky, and guess whose problem it is? That person's. Not the insurance companies, not the shop that took the shortcut because we can't find them anymore because they sold the car, or they're not even there. They closed their barn doors. So that's kind of a little joke around here. So you just have to, as a consumer, you know, like they said, do your research. I mean, there's a lot of knowledge out there. With this base coat reduction, I'll go back to that. I asked the Geico adjuster where he was getting his information, and he stated the market. I then proceeded to provide him several different articles, even from our paint manufacturing company, about how base coat reduction is not a legit operation. That they just go and make it up, that the insurance companies think they can make a procedure up, make it have to abide by it. They simply just say, well, it's what the market is, and they dictate it. And that's kind of how it flows down. But if this consumer would have known right off the get-go, I would have told him, you know, hey, you're going to settle this all before it gets in the shop, and kind of go through the process and explain to him. He was elderly, so this made it a little bit difficult even to explain to him, but he still understands that he put a lot of money into his car and wanted it fixed right. So that's where you as a consumer always have to remember who owns the car. Not your insurance, you do. So put into it what you would. And vehicles aren't cheap, and Michigan's hard on them. So take care of what you have. We're waterborne. We've touched on that before. Color matching is a really great process here. We like it. So the guys are always enjoying that. It makes a great repair process. Just doesn't help when insurance companies want to try to make an ugly repair process. So that's, again, where our technicians training and quality comes into it, that they look out for it for your vehicle. And X kind of touched on that as a consumer. I go back to, we had actually somebody inquire about an opportunity here. He wanted to leave another shop because of insufficient repairs. It's out there. Don't think that it's not. And that's where we are very lucky with having longtime employees. They care about the vehicle as much as you do. We all have kids. We wouldn't dream of putting our kids in a vehicle that's repaired incorrectly, because you're only going to find out one way if it was repaired correctly or not. And it's so heartbreaking when you see chop shops not worrying about people's safety and the children that might go into the car and everything else. So on that point, just remember, always pick your collision shop that you want. You don't have to be bullied into the insurance. We here at Auto Body Experts, our staff is very talented. I stress that over and over, and they are very trained. Sometimes they'll even come up. I bought a new car, brand new, from the dealership. I still had these guys go all through it, and they could actually pick out a hard line in the door that GM went and must have damaged it and spotted it. Brand new car. I stress that sometimes if you are looking at buying a vehicle and just something don't feel right, stop in. One of our estimators, or sometimes we can grab one of these guys, they'd be more than happy to look at this and tell you, so later on when you are in an accident, it's not their headache when it comes in here for bad repairs, that it's all been hacked up before. So just remember that we're always here to support our customers as well and make sure that people are driving quality repaired vehicles. Now that I have you in here, I guess I don't know any other questions about that. I just keep stressing for what my consumers can know, my customers. for a safety or why this is just so frustrating on your end that they short you. We talked about halos a little bit. We talked about blends. But I think Dan and all of us were just talking that there was a study that it actually now is more...
It's costing you more time to do it because it's a lot easier to fully, paint the whole panel and fully base it from end to end than what it is to paint just partial the panel, It takes more skill and it takes more time too to do it that way. So yeah, in the end, I mean, it's not fair for an insurance company to say, no, we're going to deduct you because you're not fully basing this panel when clearly, 75% of this panel was at least base. Probably 80%.
And Michigan sun, a beautiful day. Wouldn't it just look hideous if there was a halo right there? I mean, we would all cringe as we're driving down the road or seeing it. Mm-hmm. So, and they take their chances that 5 out of 10 people aren't going to care or see it. But trust me, somebody will see it down the line and it will reflect. And it's just kind of a heartbreaking thing that our insurance companies want to do.
We have standards and we take pride in what we do,
I did ask this adjuster about his experience, and he told me it was none of my business. And then I also, when I asked him again who sets these standards, I was explaining that the market in our area. So if fellow shops are watching this, stop bending over. You make it hard for everyone else. We're all in the same industry. Stop shorting yourself in what you do and bill out and tell the insurance companies what you do, because you're making it really hard for people who want to do right, because there's always someone willing to be cheap and take a corner, and it stinks because, again, ultimately it's the consumer, and that insurance company doesn't really look at you in the middle. They do at some points, but again, a lot of times you're left as out there just as a third party.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I think that's kind of it. We'll kind of touch base on that. I just wanted you to see, these guys get really frustrated. I can sit here all day and grumble to you guys about my frustrations and things that we try to do to look out for our customers and our staff. But I did offer also, on one other note, I offered this Geico adjuster some PPG classes or any other refinishing so he could learn, and he was not open to it. So I even offered education, and they don't want it. So it's just, how do we change the standards if they're not even open to learning? That's also very frustrating to us. But they weren't very welcomed, and I'm very frightened that Geico is starting to move into Michigan. So if you are looking at insurance carriers, you typically know me on my live videos. I don't throw a name out there, but I really, truly, in 17 years, this insurance company stands out to me that they were probably up there with one of the worst in taking care of their customer or insureds or anyone. So, and just their customer service alone, it was downright horrible the way they were treating this customer, everything. So remember that if you're looking at rates. We also, we recommend a lot of different insurance companies. We love a lot of them. There's a handful of them out there that have some questionable standards and guidelines. But for the most part, like I said, there are good insurance companies. So don't be thinking that they're all there to get you and, make it a bad repair and not looking out for you. There are good insurance companies. But your best defense is a good quality shop that's going to fight for you, and a good team like this that understands what has to happen and what has to be done to the vehicle. Right?
Yes.
All
yes,
right.
I agreed.
So, anything else, guys?
Not really.
I got him quiet. Isn't that amazing? So, I really want to appreciate them coming in here. It kind of took a little bit. They were a little nervous. Yeah, he has a lot of things going through his head. That's what, when we started this discussion in the back, they were all just going. And I was like, this is what I want. I want you on the camera just showing your frustrations that we have in this industry, and just things that, you have a silver door right now. You were just talking about it. There's so many things on a daily basis here that we have to diffuse and fix and make right, that I could probably do a video every half hour legitimately with all the different cars in here. But every once in a while we get a big one that stands out like this, and a big dog carrier that offers to save you 15%, but they don't care later what happens to you.
You only want to fix 15% of the car.
There you go.
Right.
So as you can imagine, lizard. I'm sure we have a lot of jokes going around here this week, but it's just, one of those weeks that we are frustrated in our industry, but we love what we do.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. We see a lot of neat things. I mean, for you guys too, switching over to water had to be a cool, different advancement in our paint. And so, if you ever want to watch them, feel free. I know they really dig that when I say that, but you can come down and see these guys. Else join us for our open houses. You can see the paint area in our 2 shops. So I'll leave it at that for you. If you have any other questions, let me know, and I'll be sure to relay it on to the technicians here. If you are an independent body shop, we are starting a social group, Independent Shops of Michigan. We'd love for them to join, and so again, we can try to unite some of our shops in the Michigan area, and that way the insurance companies can't bully us as much. Oh, thanks for the little lizardy mojo there. So just remember, if you are in a shop, please join that group. We're trying to make it that, again, the corporate bigwigs can't push out the little shops that are trying to do it right. We've been here for 70 years, have 4 stores, and we're pretty proud of our quality and what we have and our employees. So just make sure you remember that. If you have anything, find us. We got a big car show event this weekend in Wayland. So stop on down, beanbag toss and things like that. And you can always talk to Kenny about this. He would love to share his opinion too. We all have quite the opinions on this whole claim. But all right, guys, well, have a good day and enjoy your weekend. And hopefully we see you at the car show. Take care.
See ya.